Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Beyond the South Stand with me, Jez Davies. I'm joined, of course, with the coolest man in Dereham, Morgan Hewitt. Hi, Morgan. How are you?
Coolest man in Dereham. I'm never going to get used to that. But yes, I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Spent the entirety of yesterday in Thomas, a day out with Thomas at a railway museum in Essex, which was good fun. So
Thomas the Tank Engine, to be clear, right?
Yes, indeed. What about yourself?
Not just a random man called Thomas.
No. What about yourself? What did you get up to?
Went for a long walk around my hometown. I don't know why you're smiling for. And then had some mojitos with my brother's wife, sister-in-law,
Good.
which knocked me for six a little bit. Two mojitos.
Excellent.
So
two. There must have been strong ones there. I'm going to take off the like and subscribe, but for everyone that is watching, please do like and subscribe on our channel, and shout out to our sponsors, because we never do shout out at the start. So Master Seal, who kindly have supported us this season. So big up to Master Seal for all your seal requirements. Let's hand over to our guest today. So we've joined with David Newland, who is a big Southampton fan. Hi, David. How are you?
How are you doing, guys? You okay?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
If you'd just like to perhaps introduce yourself, so talk to us a little bit about how me and you know each other, and what you're doing for a living these days.
Well, obviously we used to work together, Jez, back at Play Football, which obviously five-a-side football leagues. Since moving on, I'm actually down at Goals Tolworth, working down there as the general manager. I've been there 7.5 years. Very much involved in anything to do with football, really.
Yes, I mean, if I can remember correctly, you had a relatively decent career as a goalkeeper, right, as well, and do you still manage a ladies' side as well, women's side?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I wasn't too bad at football, as you've already mentioned. As a goalkeeper, sort of unfortunately injury sort of curtailed that quite early on, but was lucky enough to turn out for Dorking Town. So I did play semi-pro for a number of fixtures, which was great. And then turned my hand to coaching. Yeah, so obviously worked a lot within the women's game, working with Emma Hayes at Chelsea when she first went there, taken over from Matt Beard, and then I've worked with Fulham, Reading Football Club, Wandsworth Borough. I've been around the women's team and then the men's team as well. So
that's really good. I mean, you mentioned Dorking at the very start of that. Was that when, is it Mark? I can't remember Mark's surname, but he was the guy that ran the club and managed the club. Was he there?
Yeah, so you had two teams at that point. So you had Dorking Town, so there was a manager called Glenn, and then you had Dorking Wanderers, which were coming around at that point under Mark White. Obviously, as we now know, with Dorking Wanderers, and both clubs merged. So I was there a season or two before, and then in the town they merged them together. Just have the one football club, and then ultimately moved to Meadowbank, which is obviously the home of the Surrey FA, and then the home of Dorking Wanderers as well. I was quite fortunate for that one.
Out of interest, David, how tall are you?
Smaller than most goalkeepers. So obviously a lot of people in the academies, they look for goalkeepers 6 foot plus. So I come in at 5'10".
Okay.
So I was very much, when I was younger, I sort of in my mind made up for it in terms of technical ability. I could get around a goal or into top corners and things like that. But when I was looked at from academies, academy coaches were looking for those goalkeepers that were going to make it 6 foot plus. I was lucky enough to be at Reading a couple of times. Crystal Palace looked at me, and then obviously one of the clubs, or my main club, Southampton, they looked at me and said, "You're very good, but you're not going to top that six foot mark." And that's what they want. So
that's mad.
And obviously, I think it's one of those. Go on.
I was going to say, Jez is, what are you, 6'4"?
I'm 6'4", but I'm rubbish at football, Morgan, so I had no chance, to be honest with
you. The thing is, David, every week he always talks about his career as a striker.
Yeah, and then when a semi-professional man that's played football for the majority of his life comes on, I go all quiet, don't I? But no, I think it's it's fair play to you, David, because I've worked in the academy systems before, and I know how difficult it is, and to sort of then sort of come out the other side sounds a bit wrong, but do you know what I mean? Like you're still involved in the game, you're still developing those players at that level.
Yeah.
So no, fair play to you, and keep going, because
Yeah.
I see your stuff on LinkedIn and social all the time, and you are, you don't need me to tell you this, but you're doing a great job with the women and the youngsters. So just keep doing what you're doing, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like, it's nice to put my name to a few players that have made it. So you played a little part. That's
Have
that's
you
all
got
that matters, really. So
have you
Yeah,
got any of those players that you could, you'd be happy to share, that you have sort of developed?
well, I mean, one of them, Carly Telford, I worked briefly with
Yeah.
at Chelsea, and obviously she went on to play for England and other clubs as well. Fran Kirby is probably
Oh wow.
one of the big names. I worked with a young Fran Kirby when her time during at Reading. She obviously went on to bigger and better things at Chelsea and flourished under Emma Hayes and Chelsea there, and then obviously went on to do wonders for England. And obviously she's just recently retired and obviously down at Brighton at the moment. So they're just a couple of names that I've been lucky enough to work with and play a part with.
That's amazing, mate. That's really good. I mean, sort of diving into, it's obviously the reason you're here is you're a loyal Southampton fan. We're playing you in the Carabao Cup tomorrow, so I
Indeed,
think both teams are going to sort of make some changes tomorrow. We would expect to, given the size of our squad. But we'll go into some of the questions we set later. But do you think Southampton will make some changes tomorrow ahead of the game, or?
Yeah, I think we will do. I think looking back at when we played Northampton, obviously I went down to the Wrexham game, first game of the season, and I think we made 7 or 8 changes for that game, which was obviously 3-4 days later after that game. Some players came on as subs in the Wrexham game that then started against Northampton. So yeah, I think 100% we'll make changes tomorrow, with Will still probably focusing more on the league, although a cup run's always nice to have.
yeah.
But yeah, I think he's probably still looking at this early stage to give players minutes and still working out a few players whether they're going to be around or not. And then we'll sort of see us. But I think the league will be the sort of the main focus.
No, fair enough. I mean, so let's dive into the questions. So question one, we set about Russell Martin. So a big call him an icon, Morgan, at Norwich. I think is that pushing it too far?
I think Icon's probably pushing it a bit too far, but I mean, I would say like certainly a stalwart of the of a period of our time that we were sort of in and around things in the Premier League. It's difficult, isn't it? Because some people really rated him and some people didn't. I'm one of the sort of people that think, he did a great job for us, and I'm glad that he's gone on to do like other things, since our time since his time at Norwich.
No, definitely.
That's kind of my thinking on it, anyway.
No, definitely. And then obviously for you, David, how did you rate his spell at Southampton? And do you think he's left the club in a better place?
It's a difficult one. I think after we were relegated, it's adjusting to life in the Championship, and for me personally, and I think a lot of the fans, he wasn't a fan's favourite. He wasn't the name that would go, yeah, we'll bring in his experience at MK Dons. He done okay at Swansea, but it's always one of those. It is a step up, I believe. Coming, when he came to Southampton from, say, the MK Dons from Swansea, but it wasn't the overwhelming favourite. I think obviously a bit underwhelming probably when he was appointed. But I think the main thing is you have to get behind them, don't you? When they come in, it's a new start, new era, new league. You can't be negative from the get-go. You've got to look at it from a positive, that he's going to do a good job. And, he did do that in the Championship, and obviously ultimately got us promoted. So,
yeah, no, I mean, it was via the playoffs as well, wasn't it? I think Leeds were probably the favourites that game from memory.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And so, first and foremost, did you go to that game? What was the Wembley experience like?
Yeah,
for you?
no, I was lucky enough to go up there with my dad, who's a lifelong Southampton fan, and then I've sort of forced it upon my son, Hugo, he's nearly 13. He's a Southampton fan. So yeah, family day out up there, up at Wembley, and as I try to install into my son Hugo, like, it's a great day at Wembley, regardless. But obviously, if you win, it's even better. If you lose, it's horrible. I think, as you just said there, mate, it's Leeds were overwhelming favourites. I think they, whoever they were playing, they smashed in the playoffs in the semi-finals to then come through. Was it yourselves?
Yeah,
And then to play us.
Yeah.
And then I think Leeds had the bulk of it, you know. And then I remember saying to my dad before, we've got to change something. Something's not working. And then 30 seconds later, Adam Armstrong runs through, slots it in the corner 1-0. And you're like, oh, it's that famous curse of, you know, change something and then we go and score. But then the Leeds had a lot of the possession in that game. And actually probably didn't turn up fully. There was a lot of big players in that team that potentially it was win or bust for them. You know, if they go up, they probably stay. If they don't, they're moving on. They don't. I don't want to say don't care, but almost their mind is elsewhere. And listen, it was obviously tremendous to get a result and win at Wembley and go back up, but probably too early for us to go up. You know, you look at, I think we spent close to 100 million in the following summer to try and have a stab at the Premiership, and well, it was a disaster. So, and then we're back down in the Championship. So,
I mean,
sorry,
I think that's okay. I think like in what I want to pick up there is where you said it was probably a bridge too far too soon. And for me, I always, I found that with Norwich, the last few times we've been promoted, it's been probably too soon for that squad. But then tomorrow never comes, right? So, what would have been an ideal situation? Would like losing to Leeds and maybe like I think Martin having another crack at the Championship with Southampton. Do you think that would have been more beneficial for both yourselves and his career? Because obviously he's in Rangers now and he's doing okay, but it's not the best.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of the players that sort of took us down were still at the club. In the Championship, we sent a few on loan. Obviously, we sold 1 or 2 players. Martin, I think, brought the club together. Put an arm around 1 or 2 players in particular because the club was almost fractured, if you like. Because we've had 6 managers since Sport Republic came in January 2022, I believe it was. So 6 managers in 3 years. They've had 2 relegations, a couple of promotions back in that time. So we're almost doing like a West Brom of years gone by, where you're a yo-yo club. You're like, you go up, you get the money, you get relegated, go back down. If you look at the players that for this year in particular, we've got rid of, it's almost that rebuilding now to restart new era type thing. Whereas before, it's still very much the same players. And Martin was there for only the 18 months, if you like. And I do remember saying at Wembley to my dad, like in the midst of all the joy and euphoria, he has to have a plan B. And the example for that, obviously, with a coaching head on, is Vincent Kompany the year before with Burnley. They go up, he still tries to play attractive football and actually largely did better than Southampton and Russell Martin, although they got relegated. He wasn't going to change his stance, and Russell Martin was exactly the same and almost come along borderline arrogance when he was in the Premier League. I'm playing this way, I don't need to change, it's my philosophy. And I think whilst I commend him for that, you've got to have a philosophy and outlook, but sometimes you may have to change it up a little to get the desired outcome. And that was the same in the Championship the year gone by, like when he was there. Same way, same play. I mean, he took us on 25-game unbeaten run from September 23 to February 24. So as fans, we're fickle. We love that. Your highs when you're winning, but when it's starting to struggle and going into the playoffs, we didn't have the momentum. You do start to ask little questions. I wasn't particularly happy with Martin and how he managed, but I think that's why football fans, we love our opinions, don't we?
I mean, that's that's. I had this conversation actually the other day with a friend of mine that we're now in a realm where possession based football, it's great and it's influenced the Championship so much. I said, Farker, when we had him in 18-19 and we went up, arguably was he the right man, right place, because he had players being able to play that kind of football. And now like as Norwich suffered last season, we were playing possession-based football for the sake of it, and we were doing nothing with it. And I think I think Martin, in my opinion, is guilty of that. Like, you know, whereby, you can put a bunch of passes together, but then what? And you know, I think the Championship now is unforgiving, and it's cottoned on to that. Again, going back to Farke, right man, right time. I don't know if that's something you would agree with, Jez. Maybe I'm overstepping the mark, perhaps.
No, I think you're right, but I think he did mould that team as well. I think right man, right time in terms of the youth players that are coming through, the likes of Max Aarons and Jamal Lewis. But I certainly think he added to that squad and Webber, Stuart Webber, who we talked to a few weeks ago, did a brilliant job in putting that squad together. But no, I can certainly see the point you're trying to make on that one. I mean, sort of just moving forward to sort of question 2, Morgan.
Yes, I mean, segues quite nicely. So Will Still was linked with Norwich last season before Hoff, and he's come up with a lot of pardon?
And this season before Liam Manning come in.
Yeah. So he's got quite a reputation. What's your take on his early impact, and how different is his approach compared to Russ Martin?
Well, first and foremost, I was surprised. I think he's had a great record abroad, over in Belgium, where he started his sort of coaching career, and then he obviously went to France. Most recently with RC Lens, I think he finished 8th in the top division there, which obviously got to give him a lot of credit. Still a young manager. I think he's 32, 33, around that age. So I was surprised a little because he is well known, I guess, but in the Championship terms, as you've already mentioned there, Morgan, like the Championship is unforgiving. Has he got the experience in it? And I'm sure he's done his homework. I think when you look at all the technology that's available these days, you pretty much can watch games from wherever you want to. You can scout a player he uses Football Manager, by all accounts. He's used Football Manager in the past to look at players and up and coming players. So he's going to bring in new ideas in that sense. When you look at his formations and things like that, very much still of Russell Martin. We started the season, we played 3 at the back with wing backs. Martin did that as well as playing a back 5, which obviously then pushing your full backs on anyway. Still very much, as you mentioned a bit earlier, a lot of passing and moving, but not really getting anywhere. But there is more urgency and pace to things. So it's not under Martin. I found it quite slow, and I went to games and I'm sitting there going, I'm bored. Like, it's going backwards, forwards, and you're not getting into the final third. Quite a positive character, and I think I mentioned about Martin bringing the club together. I think I saw a clip at from half time in the Wrexham game. Now I think we had 75% possession against Wrexham, 20 odd shots at the goal, 10, 11 shots on target, and we had to wait to the 89th minute and the 95th minute to score our goals and win. But a clip came out shortly afterwards. I think it was on our Southampton socials, and it was again, he was using an iPad. He was dissecting the first half, talking to players, and the mentality was, you boys will go out there and you will win. So he's installing that mentality straight off to the players. So when I hear him talk, I do feel confident. With Martin, I didn't, and then towards the end of his tenure, as all managers do, very defensive, very arrogant, not going to change my style. So I think it's one that we do have to wait and see a little bit. I think, again, maybe a little bit underwhelming. I wasn't particularly excited by his appointment when we were linked to you're linked with all sorts of managers and things like that. You get your hopes up, and then Will Still was the man. And as I said before, we have to get behind him. It is a year where I think it's a transition year. I'm not sure it's a promotion year. I might be wrong, but we'll see.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
I think we're in the same boat with regards to, obviously, Liam Manning was appointed, and initially I was like, I was
surprised by that one.
I wasn't. I think it makes sense on paper, but equally the last few years we've had, ever since Farke, we have an expectation now as Norwich fans that we wanted someone sexy from the continent. We got Hoff in, and that fell through the floor. And so, now it's like, well, we've got Liam Manning. He's solid. He knows the league. Whether or not that will transition to the pitch and we'll see some good stuff, I don't know. The jury's still out for me. But yeah, Will Still, we're quite an interesting character in that sense. I mean, you said you were underwhelmed. What were you expecting?
Do you know what? For me, it's probably a little bit of experience of the Championship. I think I mentioned it. You guys have mentioned it. It can be unforgiving. So to bring someone, he's got experience, as I said, from working abroad and working with younger players. And Southampton's model is, in the last few years in particular, is to turn to youth. We're not necessarily signing players of an age of, I think, 25 and above. If you look at our transfer business this year, we've got rid of, I would like to say, old experienced heads. Walker Peters has gone 28, Jan Bednarek's gone 29. Obviously, Ramsdale's a big loss. I think we'd have got thumped even more last season if we didn't have him. So you probably, I would have probably looked at a well-named Championship manager, not Neil Warnock. He's a character, but I'm not sure he's the type for Southampton.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you mentioned there about your managers, the continental side of it and things like that. We seem to be going for younger. Will Still's 32, 33. Russell Martin's only 39 now at Rangers, so he's got 37, 38 with us. Before that, we had Hassel-Hüttl, a slightly older character, and actually done very well. We got rid of him. Nathan Jones, we'll skip over him very quickly because we don't like to talk about him. Then we brought in Ruben Selles, one of our coaches. He was a young manager, obviously at Sheffield United. Very surprised at that one, and I think the results are showing with that one. And then Martin, and then Ivan Juric, and now we're into Will Still. So we've done a yo-yo, and we haven't found the formula yet. And I think you've said it there, Morgan. You've come to this about fans wanting sexy football, and potentially, do you want sexy football or do you want results? We didn't have sexy football under Claude Puel all the years back, but he did well with us, and we finished like in the top 10, and we were in Europe after Ronald Koeman left. So it's that fine balance that I don't think Sports Republic, our owners, have found that balance. As I said and mentioned before, we've had 2 relegations in 3 years under it.
I think
your previous. Sorry, Morgan, carry on.
I was about to say, it's a really good point that you make there about results and sexy football. Forest are a prime example of that. I mean, look what they did last year under Nuno, and again, they seem to be carrying on that form into the new season. I don't think. I mean, Chris Wood. I mean, he's not by the sexiest striker in the world, but he puts them in the back of the net, and
he does.
Look at Forest, and so I guess my question to you off the back of that is, are we seeing a different transit? Like I mentioned about possession-based football in the Championship, are we now seeing a different direction? I mean, I read in the Guardian something about the kind of football that Nuno plays. Are we moving away from this inherent obsession with possession?
Potentially. I think, it's quite nice when you go back to sort of old-fashioned, that you've mentioned Chris Woods there, old-fashioned number 9, just get it to the big man and he'll do something for it. There's Jez there reminiscing from his days up front, getting it up to the big man and he'll do some business for you. I think Southampton were very much like that back in the day. We would have Peter Crouch and Kevin Phillips up the top there. We used to have big James Beattie up there, which would bully the centre back and get it down to Marion Parhas, who was only like 5'5" or something, things like that. So but that whole possession-based football is coming down the divisions, and I think you have to look. I partly blame Pep Guardiola at Man City because he did it wonders there at Man City, but had the players to understand it and be able to execute it. And I think a lot of people are now trying to do it down the league, and it's like, well, can Southampton do it? Can Norwich do it? Middlesbrough do it, things like that. I think play the way you need to play. If you've got the caliber of player that can play it, then do it, or just mix it up a little bit. And I think Martin didn't do that last year, a couple of years ago. It was very much that possession based, forward, backwards, back to your goalkeeper, draw them in, and then hit them on the attack. I mean, that's how we won against Leeds at Wembley to get promoted. Whereas if you just mix it up, you know, last year in relegation year, we had a big Paul up front, 6'5", probably top shoes there, Jez, and we'd just stick it on his head to Sulemana and would score goals. The very few that we did, and I think you just got to mix it up. I think the possession base is great, but you definitely got to mix it up, and your players have to be able to do it.
No, I think so, and I think as well as, you know, this probably leads on quite nicely to the next question. So, who out of your current squad is going to cause us issues tomorrow evening? I know we did talk about there might be some rotation, but who would you say is going to come to Carrow Road and cause?
I think
Dan Grimshaw,
one to look out for. If who's in goal for you tomorrow?
Dan Grimshaw, because they're not going to play Vlad tomorrow. He'll be rested.
We'll probably have Alex McCarthy in goal tomorrow. So get your shots off. He'll fumble a few, but I think if he plays, Matty Fernandes, he's a Portuguese midfielder, 21, probably one of our standout players last year in the Premier League. Absolute workaholic, runs, tracks back, tackles, can find a pass, can score a goal. He scored against Northampton in the last rounds. Started off on the bench against Wrexham, but has played since. So if he plays tomorrow, I think Norwich and the fans should be watching out for him. He has been linked with a move. I think West Ham have been sniffing around for him, which would be a massive loss for us. But I'm sure he's looking at West Ham's results and probably thinking, I'll stay at Southampton.
Yeah, I would think so. If any West Ham fans are viewing this, I'm sorry, but
yes, yeah.
We obviously talked about George Long before we came on air. On air.
Look at this guy. Listen to him. Bro.
Ridiculous. Yeah, he won't play. I don't think he'll play tomorrow because he's only on loan, isn't he? And I don't think you're allowed to play against your parent club when you're on loan.
That's right. Yeah, rules state that. And I think we've got a couple of injuries. I think Adam Armstrong's out injured. He went off injured to Stoke. Wellington, he went off injured with another ankle issue, so he won't be playing. I think you look at the likes of Nathan Wood, will come in. Ronnie Edwards, England under 21, obviously had a great summer. Won the under 21 championship with them. Looked a bit shaky for us, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think Alex McCarthy will be in goal, and then we'll probably start Cameron Archer. Brereton Diaz will be up front.
Okay.
So, of course, yeah, he's a championship goal scorer, isn't he?
He is, but he hasn't really done anything for us, particularly went to the Premier League and even before that. It's a strange signing. I wasn't sure on that one. He's a bit of a journeyman. Did well for Blackburn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and then seemed to have done all right for Sheffield United in previous loan spells. So
absolutely.
There'll be changes tomorrow.
No, 100%. And I mean, we've already covered 4, so I'll go on to 5 because then Morgan's going to finish off with his now famous random question of the week. So prepare yourself for that, Dave.
I'll look forward to
that. Let's have our predictions then for tomorrow. So I'm going to start with you, Morgan. What's your prediction for tomorrow evening?
That's a really tough one, especially given the time this goes out, would have just lost to Middlesbrough at Carrow Road.
It's going out in about an hour's time, by the way. This is the closest time. We're actually filming this on Monday evening, the day before the game, just in case. Because we definitely didn't forget about it. Well, we definitely didn't forget about it, did we? So
it says your panicked phone call yesterday. What are we going to do? We need to do a Southampton episode. You didn't.
I know a Southampton. I know a Southampton. I know the man for the job. That's what I said.
I appreciate being asked. It's great.
It was like the A team. If you have anyway, I'm not going to go into that. So my prediction, I will say, I have to be pro Norwich, don't I? 2-0 Norwich. 2-0 Norwich.
Ooh, okay. David?
I can see it being a draw, and then obviously then it goes to penalties, if I'm perfectly honest. And I'd like to say we're going to nick it on penalties.
Yeah, that's the way I was leaning towards as well. So I think Desmond in normal time. and we'll shade it on penalties, because I don't know if you ever remember, but what was it back then? It was what the FA, not the FA Trophy. What's the auto windscreens trophy, or whatever it's called?
Yeah,
we played you in the area final the year that we went up from League One, and you beat us. So I think you'd scored in the last minute and then beat us on a penalty shootout. So yeah, I always remember that. That was like 2009, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always remember that. Anyway, we'll gloss over that one. Morgan, over to you, sir. Make sure that chair's going to be turning around, please.
So it's the random question of the week, but I'm going to do a different take on it today. I'm going to do this. Leave the room.
Oh, good.
Random question of the week. I left the room, came back in, spun on the chair. All the momentum.
Yeah. All right. We'll have a chat about that afterwards, as to whether we leave that bit in or not. But yeah, carry
on. Obviously, this Southampton nicknamed the Saints. The Saint is a popular TV show, if you cast your mind back to the 1960s or whatever. So what is your favourite TV
old,
show? Huh?
I'm not that old, by the way.
No, I know, but I know. So what is your favourite TV show of all time and why?
What a question. What a question.
Ooh, that is definitely a question to put you on the spot, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a good one. That's one of his better ones, you know.
Shut
up. Of all time, that is crazy.
Of all time, it could be. You can have maybe a top 5.
Well, still. I mean, the A-Team. You've already mentioned the A-Team. I think the theme tune you came out with, used to love the A-Team.
Yeah.
The van, the black van with the red stripe down the side I used to love that.
That's like Jez's car.
Is that like your car?
Could be. If I added a stripe.
If you had it, yeah. That is a good question. I mean, the A-Team was, growing up was the A-Team. No idea. Gladiators, used to love Gladiators all time, and it's just come back as well.
Who's your favorite?
Which is great.
Who was your favorite Gladiator? Both. It's another random question, isn't it? Men and women.
Past or present?
Past.
Random question of the week. Extra.
Yeah, we're into extra time. What did you? Was it Jet? A previous in the old series, Jet.
Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, she was just very good at what she did, didn't she? She used to beat everyone.
Yeah. It's very diplomatic.
Wife's next door. She'll hear otherwise. Yeah, I don't know. You put me right on the spot. Yeah, 18 Gladiators. Friends is always a big one of all time. You can sit down and watch Friends, back-to-back episodes all the time. What's yours, Morgan? What's your favourite TV show of all time then?
Well, straight in there, Jez. Usually that doesn't happen.
No, that's never happened before.
True Detective season 1. True Detective season 1 is one of my favourite shows of all time. It's absolutely incredible. Just everything about it, the pacing, the storyline, the acting, Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Just absolutely superb, really. And then I'm quite
That's a better answer than mine.
He's had time to think about it though, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And also Coronation Street. If I sit down with my mum, I do like to watch Coronation Street because it just makes me feel cozy.
Yeah.
What about you, Jez? Got one?
Yeah, I've got a few.
The Office.
I've been thinking about it. The Office. The UK Office, not the American one. Well, the American one's okay, but the UK one. I mean, Ricky Gervais is just a genius, isn't he? Let's be honest. So Afterlife I thought was quite good. Extras. Only Fools and Horses is a classic.
Fools and Horses, yeah.
Sorry to dramatically change the speed, but 24 hours in police custody is mind blowing. You just sit there thinking, what's going to happen next. So yeah, I think that's quite good. What else? Someone told me the other day, watch Breaking Bad if you haven't seen it. Watched it and I thought it was phenomenal.
I watched a bit of it, but
I've not seen it.
it's a bit too dark.
Phenomenal.
Do you remember Football Italia?
Oh, yeah, what a program!
I loved that show, and James Richardson.
I was going to say James Richardson used to sit in a coffee shop with his papers. Channel 4.
Yeah.
Absolute pundit.
He was good.
One of our local journos, Michael Bailey. Jez will know who I mean, and maybe some of the people reading this will as well. But Michael Bailey reminds me so much of James Richardson.
Yeah.
Just
100%.
Just that kind of like dry sarcasm in his delivery. Brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal.
100%. But no, I think other than that, I'm trying to think. Peep Show was great, wasn't it? Peep Show was brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah. Red Dwarf. Love the Red Dwarf series.
Yeah, Red Dwarf was brilliant. Yeah.
Blackadder.
Yeah.
From my youth, Noel's House Party. Come on, what a show that was.
And Mr. Blobby.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Jez or?
Oh, come on, Morgan.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I'm not commenting. I won't be allowed back on here again.
You're always welcome. It's been a pleasure.
I give him abuse pretty much every day, and I still find myself back on here.
Oh yeah, I don't know how. Anyway, well, obviously this episode is going out tonight. So just before we finish, we've got a really important episode on Wednesday, everyone. It's Amber's Army with Amanda Sheehy. I was hoping I was going to get that right, Morgan. That would have been awful if I got that wrong, wouldn't it? Amanda Sheehy, she's the mum of Amber. Amber sadly passed away a few years ago, and they are doing an event at Dereham Town on Sunday. Morgan, if I just hand over to you just to sort of talk about that event and how people can get involved.
Yeah, so for anyone watching this, if you want to come down to Dereham Town Football Club, Dereham Town are playing a Norwich City football team all-stars, including our very own Adrian Coote, who takes part in Beyond the Barclay. It's just going to be a fun day of just a good day out watching the football, and also other events and singers and a local press will be there, and so will we supporting Amber's Army. So yeah, something really close to our hearts, and it's something worth supporting. So please, if you're watching as a Norwich fan, please head down there and support Amber's Army for the day.
Well, don't exclude the Southampton fans, Morgan, because there might be some local ones that live in Norwich that might want to come down. So
yeah, that's true.
Down and support.
Yeah, come down and support. David, thank you so much. It's been brilliant. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, guys. Yeah. Cheers.
And best of luck for the rest of the season after tomorrow as well.
Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Let's catch up soon. And for everyone else watching, please like and subscribe. As I said earlier on, you can like and subscribe on our YouTube channel for more great content. Follow us on all of our social channels as well. I've been Jez Davies.
I've been the man with an extraordinarily loud shirt, considering everyone else is wearing quite tame ones.
Yeah, you look like you're off to the beach tomorrow, to be fair.
David?
And
thanks very much, guys. Yeah, I've been David, Southampton fan, and good luck for the rest of the season, guys.
Thank you.
You too. All the best. Bye-bye,
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Bye.